I find it, I just hate to see records made on this floor that bear absolutely no relationship to the fact. The suggestion made here that there was one question on waterboarding out of hundreds of questions, and that created the problem. Unlike the senators who may have spoken that way, I was there. I was there through the whole hearings on the first day. I was there through the whole hearings on the second day. I am probably the only senator, other than possibly Senator Specter, who was there for every bit of it. There are several questions on this issue. In fact, the reason that as chairman I had a second day of hearing is because of some of the questions that were raised on the first day of hearings. And that I took the transcript and read it during that night because of it. There were questions on executive privilege, but there were questions on waterboarding. Waterboarding, we do not need, even contrary to suggestions made, which seem to be more to for political cover for some who may want to vote one way or the other. We do not need a new law on waterboarding. President Teddy Roosevelt did not need a law on that to find people had violated our laws 100 years ago. We did not need a new law on the question of waterboarding to prosecute Japanese war criminals for waterboarding our Americans. We have not needed it at all. It is against the law. We do not need it. None of the military who write our uniform code of military justice need a new law to find it wrong. None of the judge advocates general need a new law to find it wrong. They've declared it wrong. Our treaties and our other obligations find it wrong. Up until the last week or so of this administration, we would have objected to anybody, any other country, using such techniques on Americans to find it wrong. Now, I understand that the White House determines what their nominees want to say. That is fine. But I would not want anybody, and senators, I've not lobbied any senator one way or the other on this issue. But let us not pretend that there was one question out of hundreds, and it was on waterboarding. There were many, many questions. Several senators asked questions on this, more on the philosophy, is a president above the law? Can the president arbitrarily set people in this country above the laws of America? Or do the laws that we pass and that are signed into law by presidents, is that a law that applies to every single American, including the President of the United States? Most of us feel the same way we learned in Civics 101, that no one in America is above the law. That is the issue we raised in the Senate Judiciary Committee. And those who are voting no on this, because they felt a great deal of concern about the answers. Nobody questions Judge Mukasey's abilities or his legal abilities. I find him a very attractive candidate for Attorney General. But I do not find the ability to vote, continue to vote, for a myth that somehow the president is above the law, any more than those of us who voted to confirm General Petraeus were, as the White House didn't want to say, saying that we believed in everything the president was doing in Iraq. Many of us voted against the war in Iraq. We then voted for General Petraeus because of his abilities to be a four-star general. Entirely different things. For the suggestion otherwise, I find beneath the quality of what should be discourse in this great body. And I resent it, and I reject it. Let people make up their mind how to vote, one way or the other. Don't vote on red herrings. Don't vote on made-up ideas that we really need to pass some law in the future. And then, of course, we can be tough. In the future, we will do something, and then we can be tough. It's sort of like saying, gosh, if we'd known we'd been told the truth, or weren't being told the truth, we might have voted differently in Iraq. If we knew that waterboarding was bad, we might have voted differently. Vote one way or the other. I will not question the motives of any senator, no matter how they vote, either for or against this nominee. But let's not do a hypocritical pretense that either the president is above the law when he's not, or the president can put any American above the law because he cannot. And let us not pretend that torture is not torture, because it is, and it is beneath the great ideals of the most wonderful nation on earth. Mr. President, I thank the senator from Nevada, and I will yield back the balance of my time.